Hi, guys. How are you? Welcome to the Writing Compelling Fiction Live. I wanted to get my timer. I thought I had just enough time. Did not, apparently. I'm very excited to have you here, especially if you're the first time here. Any of those people that are on Facebook or on YouTube, if it's your first time here doing a sprint with us, welcome, 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 because we're really excited to have you here. We have a really great community of authors who come from all over the world to these writing sprints, and it gets me inspired to write, and hopefully it gets you inspired to write, because that's the whole goal, is to get you back in the groove or kind of moving forward in your book if you're stuck, all of those sort of things. That's the whole idea behind a sprint. So if you're here, drop a comment on either YouTube or Facebook and let me know, say hello, or let me know where you're from or where you're what you're writing, because I'd love to meet you and talk to you, even if you just quiet the whole rest of the time, as I totally get it. These writing sprints are definitely designed for you to help you move forward, like I said, in your book. And that's why we do them in short little sprints. That's the whole concept of a sprint. And we keep them, light and funny and all of that. Nothing too dark or too much pressure or anything like that. I'm not going to check to see how many words you did. Whatever you do is what you do, and any words forward is a great job. So we do these currently twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So if it's your first time, again, thanks for being here, and come back again. What's today? Thursday. Next week, Monday at 4 o'clock, because we'll do it again. Hello, Brenda. Nice to see you. Atlanta. I will be up in Atlanta. And actually, I know I'll be seeing Brenda in October. I'm speaking at the Moonlight and Magnolias Conference in Georgia. I think it's October 12th to 14th. So, and Wendy's also here editing, which is great because that's just in time for my mastermind tonight, which I'll talk about a little bit more on one of the breaks. If anybody that's a jump starter here, I am so glad that you're here. If you haven't joined any of our communities, you definitely want to do that. You either want to hit subscribe or join our circle group or any of those other things. I'll talk about them a little bit throughout the sprints, so that throughout the live, actually, not throughout the sprints, because we'll be writing during the sprints, so that you kind of have an idea of what else we have to offer here at Writing Compelling Fiction. And I wanted to tell you guys that we're going to do our first ever in-person Writing Compelling Fiction event at the end of September. So stay tuned through this live, because I will give you more details about it at the end of that. Today's plan is to do 3 10-minute writing sprints. And if you'd like to share what you're working on, let me know, and I'd be glad to give you some feedback on there. And if you have any writing questions, you can drop them in the chats in between and I'll answer them in between the 10-minute sprints. So today I'm working on actual work. I have a chapter I need to write for a client, and I have a letter I have to write for a client. So that's going to be my super fun writing sprints today. But it's been a really crazy busy day with meetings, so these came at a good time for me. Before we get started, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe on the channel. Hey, Half-a-Mo is here. Yay, I'm so excited to see you. I think using today to edit is a great idea, because sometimes that's what you need to do, is just as much as I love writing, I'm not always a fan of editing. It's sort of like I like what Dorothy Parker says. I love writing, or having written. I don't like the whole process. I do and I don't. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with editing. But that's a good use, because sometimes it forces you to just get in there. And Brenda's working on a rom-com short story. I love that. I love short stories. I've written a few novellas. They're super fun to do. And nice to see you, Cheryl. It feels like old home week here with everybody. So if you are all settled in and you are ready to get started, we'll do our first 10-minute sprint. Let me bring up my timer, and I'll play a little bit of music. You write what you want, and I will see you back here again in 10 more minutes. So play a little music and we will go. Have fun. Hey guys, we are done. That was great. How did you do? I got my letter written. I just didn't get it proofed. So I got to go back and do that on the next one. But I was so close to actually hitting send on that client email. So that would be the first client thing out of the way. If you're struggling with anything with your book, totally drop the comment in the totally drop a sentence or a question in the comment section, because I'm here to help and to answer whatever questions you have. This is a great time to just pick my brain and see what I think about what you're dealing with. Oh my gosh, it's been a long day, right? I clearly have not had enough coffee. My brain is just kind of fried. It's been a really long week in general. And Half a Mo's kitty came up to join on the shoulder and sitting on their shoulder, and that's just pretty cool because my cat would do the same thing if I let him in here. He would be right here on top of me. Plus, it's close to supper time for my animals, so they're definitely all over me. My dog, a lot of times at the end of these sprints, starts barking, and you'll see me in the third sprint generally just telling her to shush because she's only got like 10 minutes to wait. Great job, Brenda, on writing that page. I wanted to tell you that on our circle community, we are discussing small mercies. I'm going to add a video probably tomorrow with some of my thoughts about this, but you can see how many comments I have, how many things I just loved in this book. It's a little dark. It's something that I talked about on my community page on the YouTube channel. It's a little bit dark, and dark especially for one of Lahane's novels, which are typically pretty dark because they deal with pretty weighty issues. But this one is set in the 70s during the race battles during desegregation with the busing in Boston. And it's a really hard book to read because it shows some of the uglier side of how we behaved during those decades or those years. And yet at the same time, it's got that classic Lahane family suspense sort of thread going through it, and everything is all interrelated. He's such an amazing author. He's really one of my top 5 in general. So Half a Mo says says the story. I'm sorry, if you're a he and not a she, I'm sorry, just default to she. Story is feeling too remote, telling, I guess, not showing, so not feeling it. That happens a lot. I have that happen with my own books. And so what you want to really do is like challenge yourself to not use any adverbs or not use the verb to be, like no, was, or has, or had been. Try to write a few sentences not using that at all. Or the other way that you can make that more showing rather than telling is to really focus on the emotional impact on the character and not use the word for that emotion. So like if they're feeling sad, you want to show that with everything but the word sad. So maybe, the character hangs her head in, thank you, Half a Mo. Maybe the character hangs her head in shame, or maybe she looks away, or closes the door, or starts to cry really slowly, or just feels a heavy weight blanket on her. Whatever you want to show with that emotion, use that instead, because sometimes that can really help. A lot of my first drafts are pretty lean on showing because I'm just trying to get the story down on the page, so I get that. If you hadn't already joined our circle community, I'm going to drop the link into the comments so that you guys have it, and that way you can join it. And if you want to discuss Dennis Lehane's Small Mercies or any Dennis Lehane book, because I've read them all, you're more than welcome to come over and post in there. A lot of the community is open and free to anybody who decides to sign up and join. And it also keeps a calendar of all my events, like our in-person event coming at the end of September. Cheryl said she printed off the notes that she made for herself from the revision letter that she received. And we're going to talk about that. Cheryl's one of the members of Mastermind. Hope you don't mind me telling people that. Cheryl's one in that group, and we're going to talk about that tonight in our Mastermind group. If you're not a part of that, I'm going to talk about it in the next break, but it's a really great hands-on group that meets once a month, and then in between that you have access to some Q&As and stuff with me in the circle community that is not available to the free community. And we're going to really kind of delve in deep into what this revision letter means and how to kind of tackle it. So as much time as we have, because we have like 10 or 15 people in the group, and then I've got 5 manuscripts that I'm giving feedback on tonight. So in the meantime, let's write for 10 more minutes. Let's do our 10-minute thing here. And Half a Mo, I hope that you are able to just kind of show an emotion without telling. That's a really great challenge to do for yourself. And I will see you guys back here in 10 minutes. All right, that was our second one. That was great. So I hope everybody did awesome, and hope your sprint went well. Half a Mo, did you try that with the showing instead of telling, and how did that work out? And Cheryl, how are your revisions going? I would love to hear some feedback for that. Um, and looking forward to seeing you guys tonight, the ones that are in the mastermind tonight. I think it'll be really fun, and I'm super excited to tear apart a revision letter, or not really tear it apart, just kind of talk about it. Let me know how you did, if it was harder or easier, like if those words are coming better now that you kind of just let go in that first one. I wanted to talk to, hey, Shonda, nice to see you. Always nice to see somebody else come on board with the writing sprints. I'm very excited about that. And yes, Half a Mo, I'm so glad that the showing worked out better. It really is like showing instead of telling. It really is an art. It really is something that can be difficult to remember to do. Like even I have to go back and remind myself to show, because telling is the lazy way out, right? And honestly, I'm a very lazy person. I mean, I do a job where I sit on my butt all day, right? So I really like to tell as opposed to show, and showing is really getting involved and really working hard for every single word. So yes, it can be tough. This week, for my video that I loaded on Wednesday, I was brought back to those early days when I was a new writer, and I was really struggling to figure out how the heck to write a book, because I didn't really know. And it was so hard. I think you guys know I wrote 10 books in 8 years, and I quit writing. I mean, I really quit, like threw everything away. And that's definitely a story I got to tell on my channel one of these days. But I had some other authors that kept me inspired and kept me motivated and kept me going forward. I dropped a link in the chat. I'm going to drop it there. I dropped a link in the chat that is all about the 6 secrets that I learned from the successful authors around me. And I was an author who started when like Suzanne Brockman and Lisa Gardner started. They were in my writing the novel chapter or writing chapter that I was in when I lived in New England. And they've just taken off, but they were so gracious and lovely. There was a lot of amazing authors along the way that kind of helped me. And also, I learned a lot just from watching them. So I encourage you to watch that video to see the 6 things that I learned. And the 6th one was something that I didn't even realize until I was putting the video together. And I was like, oh yeah, this is what I learned from this. So Half a Mo, for sure, writing with others around is hugely motivating, because I'm one of those people that, like, if I go to the Starbucks, I cannot play solitaire because I don't want to feel like the one loser in the room that isn't writing. Even though no one's looking at me, no one cares. I feel that peer pressure to write. And it's the same for me here on the channel when we're doing these writing sprints. I can't sit here and like check my Wordle and play spelling bee or whatever on the New York Times. I actually have to work. so anyways, if you are struggling at all with inner doubts or whether you should even be doing this, remember that I believe in you. I totally think you should, because I have been there. I know what it feels like to really want to quit and to just be struggling with whether you should do this at all. And keep going. If you keep writing and you keep reading and you keep learning and growing, you will reach your dream. That's how it happens. 99% of this industry, just like any other, is perseverance and belief. And for days when you don't believe in yourself, know that over here we're believing in you. So let's have our last sprint. And then when you come back, I'll tell you about the in-person event that we're going to have. So 10 minutes, guys. I will see you. Okay, there we are. A third set of 10 minutes. So you've got 30 minutes of writing in there. I hope you guys got lots done because you're amazing just for showing up and putting some words on the page. I think that's awesome because it can be so hard, especially when you're working it around kids and life and jobs and everything else. For me, most of my fiction happens, quote unquote, after hours, which I don't know, I work from home. It seems like there's never an after hours because my regular company keeps me so busy during the day. So I appreciate the sprints as much as you guys do because most of the time I'm working on fiction and I get a chance to kind of really put my head down and get into that. So it's really always fun for me as well. I appreciate you all being here. I really do. All of you jump starters, you're awesome. You're just phenomenal. And I'm thrilled to see you all. If you are interested in the masterminds, I said I would talk about them. I totally forgot. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing that. So instead, what I'm going to do is tell you about the in-person event. So at the end of September, on September 26th, I am going to be in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And some of you that are on the chat today are in the Fort Wayne, Indiana area. And we're going to have an in-person event at the Wyndham Hotel out on Jefferson Point, the Jefferson Point Wyndham. And I will put more details in the Circle community. So if you didn't join that, scroll up and check out the Circle community because my schedule is there. And the first in-person event will be there in September. And I really can't wait to see you guys. We're going to meet in the lobby bar, and I just think it's going to be a blast. I'm super excited. And I'm glad Brenda loves the Jumpstarters thing. My social media consultant came up with that, and I was like, oh, duh, because my company is called Jumpstart. You would think I would have thought of it, but I didn't. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I would highly suggest that you do so that you know about the next live, which will be Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next writing sprint. I don't think I'll be going live over the weekend because I have a lot of recording to do. Because in order to run a channel, you got to record and edit, and that takes a significant amount of time. But if you're not already on the Circle community, scroll up and check that out. And if you have any writing questions or you need any other support, go ahead and send me an email. I put my email into the chat. And I appreciate you all being here so much. So I will see you all Monday and have a fabulous weekend.